we're excited about two great opportunities this weekend. Obviously, we got to play better basketball. The message all week for us has been, have to be a much better defensive team. You look at our points per possession in Ivy League play, surrendered, and it's not close to acceptable, not close to what we were earlier in the year. So that's the good news. There's a good defensive team here. We just got to get back to playing that way. But from Yale to Harvard to Cornell to Dartmouth, we've given up at least 1.18 points per possession in every game, some games more, and that's not going to be a consistent recipe for winning. So, good news is our offense is making progress and making strides, but we have to hang our hat on our ability to get defensive stops. And I've been pleased with how we've practiced this week. We'll get on the court here in a little while before we head down to Philly. And, I would hope that we have much better defensive performances starting tomorrow.
Coach, is there anything you noticed from, for instance, the six-game winning streak you guys went on that featured wins at Vermont and Bryant and then home against URI, as opposed to the defense and league play, which you just alluded to? I mean, is it simply defense, just effort, or is there something more to it?
It's I think it's a mindset, Scott. I think it's definitely some effort. I don't think our on-ball defense has been particularly good, like just guarding one-on-one, whether that's on the perimeter in the low post, at the elbows. At the end of the day, you've got to, really uh, you know, be able to guard the basketball. And you got to be able to do it without fouling. Now, you have help from, people behind you, but like you've got to take on that onus of guarding guys one on one. I also think our ball screen defense has taken a step back. It's not nearly as good as it was earlier in the year, and that's everyone. That's all five guys involved in guarding those actions. So yeah, definitely some tactical things, definitely some fundamental improvements that we can make. But I think first and foremost, like what's our mindset? Where's our compete level? And I don't think it's been bad, but it can be a little bit better.
Mike, you're 1-3 in the Ivy so far this year. Last year, you started out 2-6 before going on a run. Is there something about your teams that just waits until the end for things to get interesting and then you turn it on? Or, is there something like that that you're kind of building on from maybe last year that you can take into the later part as you head into February?
Yeah, no, we don't want to start the way we have either this year or last year. That's not something that we were hoping to do. I think that I guess that if there's a positive, Ian, it's that we can draw back on experiences as recently as last year where we can recover from a slow start. But it gets late pretty early here in this league with only 14 league games, and it's just got to be a sense of urgency and a uh like we've got to understand how important every game is, and we have to understand how important every possession is, and not just think we can turn it on in the last 7, 8, 9 games of the year. Like it all starts with the next game. And, obviously, regardless of what happens tomorrow night, there's plenty of basketball left to be played, but we've got to have probably a little greater sense of urgency.
Mike, how's Landon?
He seems to be progressing okay. He has not returned to practice though. So, I would say his status is very much doubtful for this weekend, but he's been getting good treatment. He's been seeing all the appropriate medical folks, and it's better than it was last week.
Along those lines, if he's going to be out here, just the guys that have an opportunity to step forward here. Obviously, that means a bigger role for Dabo. But who else do you see stepping forward? I know, last weekend David Rochester seemed to pick up some more minutes, and pick up some more of the burden. Just, what do you expect out of some of the other guys?
Yeah, I would just say that everyone has to be better. Like whenever you're down a key player, everybody has to be better. No one, one single person can kind of step into that role or those shoes. Yeah, Dabo's going to see more minutes. David's going to see more minutes. Wyatt played a little bit last week. given, already having sustained injuries to Nana and Drew Kania, we don't have a ton of other options in our front court, but, we're going to have to look at everything and maybe even going super small and trying to play, that way. We're hopeful that we get him back sooner rather than later, but in the meantime, everybody's going to have to just be a little bit better, starting with our coaching staff.
Just how much has that made you like sort of be on your toes this year? I mean, you've dealt with injury and then another injury hits, obviously preseason with Nana. Like, how much do you sort of have to, be prepared for anything, particularly this season, the way it's going?
Yeah, I think that's every season. I think obviously there's probably been a little bit more this year than in most other years, but as part of, trying to build a program the way we've built it, and also like what can you control? You can't really control some of these other things. So let's focus on the things we can control and let's focus on the guys that are available and let's focus on how we want that to look with the group of guys we have out there. So yeah, I think experiences, positive, negative, adversity, prosperity, they all prepare you for what's going to come next. And through all of this, we're going to continue to grow and get better and be more prepared for what's next. But obviously, as you go through it, you have choices. You can focus on things you can't control and waste a lot of time and energy, or you can focus on the things you can control and try to make the best of it.
Mike, you mentioned guarding the ball and ball screens. How much of that is showing up in maybe some of the three-point opportunities teams are getting against you here?
Yeah, so obviously the percentages are higher, Bill. I still like our like the amount of threes we we give up. Teams don't take a lot of threes against us. That's been true in the non-league and also true in league play. I think we're top 25 in the country in overall and not allowing you to take threes. And then in league games, we lead the league in fewest threes given up, based on, your total field goal attempts. So obviously you don't want to give up easy twos, and that's what we've given up, too many easy twos. And our effective field goal percentage defense, our 2-point field goal percentage defense have both gone from being, really kind of elite for our level in the top 75, top 50 of the country early in the year to now in the last 7-8 games have been among the nation's worst. So I think that is again, on ball defense, post defense, ball screen defense, whatever it might be, like our defense has to protect the paint. We have to protect the rim. We have to force harder shots while still denying those easy 3-point attempts. And we've shown we can do it. And that's, been something that we've really tried to emphasize this week. Guard the ball, defend the paint, protect the basket while also still forcing hard 3-point shots.
I'm not suggesting that you would look past Penn in the first game, but I know you have Princeton in the second, and the last time you played them, it was obviously a really special day for you in the program, winning it at Ivy Madness. Just as you approach that, you maybe go to the guys who are on the floor, or who are on the bench for that game, and try to stoke some good feeling going into the weekend.
I think obviously you reflect back and draw back on the film that you watch and what enabled us to have the success we had that day. And obviously our team's very different. Their team's different as well. But I think there's some common themes that we can look to, try to go back to both offensively and defensively as we think about that game. But that won't be till Saturday. And, obviously we've got a team that's won 2 in a row and 2 by 15 or more. One on the road against Harvard and then against a really good Columbia team the other day. So Penn's really, really playing well. And talk about 3-point defense. They just made 18 in their last game. So we've got to be ready to this is a playoff type game tomorrow night. I mean, I know it's a cliche. You guys are probably sick of me saying that about some of these games, but it really is. Like, we've got to have that sense of urgency and be ready to compete tomorrow night against a team that's playing really well. So, yeah, Princeton will be obviously a huge challenge when we get to it on Saturday, but we've got to wait on that.
Thanks.
And Mike, Steve Donahue dipped into the transfer portal, got a pretty good one in Ethan Roberts.
Yeah, he's a good player. Patriot League Rookie of the Year 2 years
Yeah.
ago. Then he transferred to Drake, and I think he had some injury issues. But yeah, 17 points a game. He can score it in a lot of different ways. On the perimeter, driving the basketball. He's a bigger wing, so he'll try to post you up. And so much of their offense, continues to run through their center, Nick Spinoso, who's seems like he's been at Penn for about 15 years at this point. I might have recruited him actually. I've been at Brown 13 years now. So, but he's terrific. If you guard him one-on-one in the post, he's a real tough cover. If you help, he's as good of a passing forward as we've had in our league in a while. So, yeah, they're a terrific offensive team.
Mike, if I could, just speaking of Penn coming up next, what stands out about them? How do you guys match up?
I think Sam Brown's really playing well lately. So Sam Brown, son of Brett Brown, former Philadelphia 76ers head coach. His percentages aren't anywhere near what you would expect, and that's because he went through a little bit of a slump, and in the middle of the non-conference, but he's really turned it on come league play. He just had 30 and made 8 threes against Columbia. Ethan Roberts, who we already talked about, 17 a game. Spinoso, 12, 13 points, 7 rebounds, almost 4 assists a game. And then they just those are probably their 3 main playmakers, Ian, but they've got really good shooting around those guys. And Steve's teams are just always really, really hard to guard because of the spacing, because of the flow, the movement, and their concepts. They're just so well schooled offensively that if you can't guard him one-on-one, which we've talked about, they're gonna capitalize. So it all starts with our ability to impact the ball and pressure the ball while also not getting beat.
Gotcha. And you mentioned, Landon Lewis, doubtful for this week, but what do you lose without him on the floor?
Obviously a terrific two-way player who can score it, a lot of different places offensively, either block, either hand. He can drive the ball from the perimeter. He can drive the ball from the elbow. His playmaking is really evolved. He's a terrific defender, rebounder. Yeah, we lose a really good player if he's not able to play. And I'm not saying he's out, but again, he hasn't returned yet to practice as we speak. But he's making good progress, and obviously, I'd love to have him out there if he can do it.